Now, reports suggest that Gulf countries are planning to send troops to Bahrain to help the kingdom maintain order. It follows weeks of violent anti-government protests in the capital Manama. Emma Hayward reports.
Images coming out of Bahrain show what seems to be security services using extreme force on protesters. Here, a policeman uses a handgun to reportedly fire live rounds towards demonstrators. And here, a man is shot at point-blank range by what appears to be a policeman firing tear gas canisters. He stands up again, and he's shot once more. This is understood to have happened on Sunday during another day of violent protests in the capital. And another video uploaded onto YouTube by an opposition group shows what appears to be someone filming events from a car. He's spotted by police, then apparently targeted. Police clamped down on protesters who tried to block off the city's main financial district. Many were injured, and there were chaotic scenes at one hospital as staff tried to treat the wounded. The police are also understood to have suffered casualties. In an effort to restore calm, the Crown Prince issued a statement which was read out on television. He called for national dialogue and assured that key issues would be addressed. There's been ongoing tensions in Bahrain since last month. The demonstrations started by members of the country's Shia majority demanding equal rights from the Sunni ruling family. Analysts say this latest violence shows a growing split in the opposition between those calling for constitutional reform and others demanding that the royal family go. The United States, which has a naval base in Bahrain, is watching events closely. During a visit on Saturday, US Defense Secretary Robert Gates warned Bahrain isn't pushing ahead fast enough with promised reforms. These clashes will confirm the fears of many who say unless serious dialogue begins soon, the violence will continue to escalate. Emma Hayward, Al Jazeera.
And just one line coming out of about the events in Japan. The Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin has said in the last few minutes there's no threat of global nuclear disaster from the events in Japan. Of course, the nuclear crisis facing people in Japan. And as if the damage caused by the earthquake and the tsunami aren't enough, temperatures have plummeted and people are without heating. Let's get details on the weather with Steph. Joining me live now from Jeddah is Hussein Shabokshi, who's a writer for Ashaq Al-Awsat newspaper. Good to have you with us. First of all, do we have confirmation that Saudi Arabia is going to be sending troops into Bahrain?
The only confirmation we have is the announcement that came across the wires that the GCC will be sending troops. We don't know the mix-up of these troops, but I would assume that Saudi Arabia would participate in such an effort.
And do you think that Saudi troops will be confronting protesters in Bahrain?
No, I don't think that will happen. I think the Bahrainis will do that themselves. The Saudi troops, which is part of the GCC troop initiative, will be in charge of protecting security of Bahrain. I think this would be strategic targets such as seaports, airports, and critical facilities. And that is the understanding of the charter of the GCC Council members, that in such crises they would do the same.
Well, is it a crisis? I mean, the last time it happened, the GCC sent troops into Kuwait, but that had been attacked by an enemy country. This is Bahrain suffering protests. Why is that a crisis?
Well, if you give me a second here, I'll explain. There has been some phenomenal jitters in the last 2 weeks, sending ripple effects in the region. The Bahraini opposition, which is leading these protests, have been creating a lot of noise, saying that the Saudis are going to interfere, the Saudis are going to interfere. As of yesterday, Ali Mshema, who is an opposition leader based in London, appeared on BBC and said the Saudis will send their troops. None of these announcements came true, but he said the following. He was asked, if the Saudis do send their troops in, what will happen? He said, we will ask Iranians to do the same. This is ludicrous because the Iranians have no relationship of such with the Bahraini government to interfere in a very local affair. The Saudis and the Gulf states are very weary of the Iranian intervention because they cannot help but see what has occurred in Iraq, a neighboring country to them. It's chaotic because of the sectarian aftermath that took place after the US invasion. There are reasons to be worried, and yes, what is happening now in Bahrain is a cause of concern. It is a crisis.
Okay, thanks very much indeed for that. Hussein Shibokshi speaking to us from Jeddah there.